Here are the facts. Dimethyltryptamine, or DMT, is a naturally occurring compound made of carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen. Think of it as a cousin to serotonin. DMT is present in plants and trace amounts exist in the human body. Scientists aren't sure what role DMT plays in humans, but plants containing DMT have been used in religious ceremonies for thousands of years. In the United States, DMT is a Schedule I drug, and its legal use is restricted to certain religious organizations, such as União de Vegetal. This substance is illegal under Section C, which means there is a lack of accepted safety for use of DMT under medical supervision. The substance is not addictive, yet thousands of people in the US and abroad have used it to experience what some describe as an extra-dimensional plane of reality, vastly different from our own, but just as real. Here's where it gets crazy. According to some researchers, these users may be at least partially correct. It seems that DMT users may have eerily similar hallucinations. In The Spirit Molecule, Dr. Rick Strassman, a professor of psychiatry at the University of New Mexico, notes that many of the 60 volunteers he exposed to DMT reported experiencing an interaction with some other intelligence, an alien presence that communicated with them during their hallucinations. According to Graham Hancock, author of Supernatural, these presences are real and are able to assist human beings. As evidence, Hancock points to the success of ayahuasca clinics, which expose drug addicts to the traditional ayahuasca rituals of the Amazon. After 5 sessions with the drug, Hancock claims more than half of the addicts in the clinic break their addiction completely. Hancock also believes that this drug use and contact with these creatures dates back tens of thousands of years, and that the cave paintings sketched in places like Chauvet, France, are evidence of interaction with these beings. It seems far-fetched. The idea that a psychoactive substance could trigger some sort of extrasensory contact with non-human intelligence is a lot to swallow, especially without proof. While conspiracy theorists and researchers like Hancock argue that the proof is all around the world in ancient religious symbols, the mainstream considers this wishful interpretation rather than objective fact. Professor Strassman is attempting to find the biological explanations for the effects of DMT, and he believes the answer may lie in the pineal gland. Strassman theorizes that the pineal gland may be the source of human DMT production. He also notes the great symbolic significance ancient religious art seems to place on the so-called third eye, which he interprets as the pineal gland. During his experiments, he noted that the common hallucinations of his patients paralleled near-death experiences. When he gave patients a high dose of DMT, the compound seemed to induce the mental state found in encounters with aliens and religious experiences. Strassman is continuing his research today, exploring the connection between these states of consciousness and the historical accounts of prophecy. Some conspiracy theorists believe that DMT is illegal precisely because these experiences are not mere hallucinations. What's more, some argue that governments expose citizens to fluoride to inhibit the function of the pineal gland, hoping to keep the revelatory nature of these experiences from the mainstream. Yet it's difficult to believe that a vast government conspiracy this strange could exist without solid proof. And the current scientific research seems to produce more questions. Why does DMT occur naturally in the human body? Why do high amounts of DMT cause users to experience such similar lucid hallucinations? Is DMT just a powerful hallucinogenic substance or something else? Something that ancient civilizations have used for centuries and modern science has only begun to rediscover.
In this video, I'll be discussing the various interpretations of the third eye and its connection to our so-called reality and dream worlds. Let's start with the pineal gland. The pineal gland is a small organ shaped like a pine cone, hence its name, which I'll get into later. It was also the last endocrine gland to have its function discovered. Its location, found deep within the brain, implies its significance. This led to it being considered a mystery gland, with all kinds of superstition, myth, and even metaphysical theories surrounding its supposed function. It's often associated with the sixth chakra or third eye called ajna in yoga. It is believed to be the dormant organ which can be awakened to unlock our hidden telepathic abilities and our inner vision. In the physical body, did you know that the eye views objects upside down? Then it sends those images it observes to the brain, which interprets them and makes it appear to us as right side up. According to René Descartes, who considered the pineal gland the seat of the soul, said it was our link to the one non-material part of the universe, the mind. This is one reason why I never try and refer directly to the terms right, wrong, good, or bad, because I find them to be such vague extremes that don't actually exist except on paper in people's minds. Generally, those terms are left up to each individual's imagination to determine which is which, until they're pulling rabbits out of their own hat, and eventually pulling people down with them. I do think that the terms positive and negative are ideas we can relate to because it is what lines the very fabric of our universe and essence of our being. Life and death, light and dark, hot and cold, ad infinitum. Since everything essentially came from the same singularity in space, it means you and all that surrounds you are an amalgamated, randomized, ever-changing interpretation of itself, perceptually aware of the countless randomized branches extending outward at any given moment, which when you think deeply about it, is actually a glance into the many faces of your true self. Some of those faces are easier to relate to than others. Some are frightening and hard to accept. Others are exciting. However, all of them are inescapably a part of you as the self-aware universe. I always like to equate it to walking through a hall of mirrors of the mind, introspectively looking into the different aspects of the conscious self in the grand sense of the word. Unequivocally, what you or I individually think from the finite constructs of the ego is a temporary charade, a masquerade ball we all buy into for a short time to give us purpose. On the other hand, if one peels their perspective back enough, past myself, yourself, himself, herself, their selves, ourselves, one would see that it is just a game we play with our collective higher mind. When we step back into the discourse of the duality, however, we collectively demonize and burn people at the stake to continue forward with confidence in a given random direction, as we perpetually find ourselves caught in the eternal dance between a 1 and a 0.
The interior of the pineal gland, all along the inside, has rods and cones just like the retina on your eye. Do you think that maybe when they called it a third eye, that they knew what they were talking about? Do you think that an eye must have a cornea and a lens and all this vitreous fluid in it like we have? The fluid is there, but you just got the retina. So there's something that appears to be happening inside. It's like there's a little television in here, and you can actually get audio out of it, and you can get video out of it, and that video feed is being picked up by the rods and cones, and that's your imagination. That's the mind's eye. You actually have a retina. Have you noticed that when you visualize something strongly enough, that you really do see it? You can close your eyes, but you're still seeing things. This is where it's coming from.
If you visualize something strong enough from your third eye, it becomes a reality. This is Mei, the kanji, for your third eye. Let's look at its construction. You see the wall-shaped crown, the sun, and the lid which opens up at the bottom. To help you understand it more visually, if you open up the lid to your crowned sun, I'll say it again, if you open up the lid to your crowned sun, that is your third eye. This leads me to the next connection in that kanji character. If you look at the open lid, it's actually a number 6. Look at the left-hand side. There are 6 emotions, 6 senses, 6 directions, 6 classes of characters, and the universe also has a number 6 in it. And if you close the lid at the bottom of the left-hand side, you'll see it's closed, that's deceased, or the late, or dying. As you can see, there's a lot more to kanji than meets the eye, pardon the pun. Allow me to continue. If you put a regular eye next to your third eye on the left-hand side here, and then you think about it with imagination on the right-hand side here, you are in meditation. Nearly every ancient culture knew of the hidden powers of the pineal gland and what it does to connect us to this reality. If you still have a hard time grasping this, just look at the shape of the pineal gland versus the shape of the pine cone, the lotus flower, our universe, and how it folds in on itself. Again, this pine cone connection can be found in nearly every culture, as we see here at the top left, the Pope carrying a pine cone-like staff. In the upper right, Bacchus, a Greek god, carrying a pine cone staff as well. In the lower left, Buddha's head being shaped like a pine cone as he's reaching enlightenment. In the center, the statue found at the Vatican is a pine cone, taller than 2 or 3 people, one of the biggest found at the Vatican. This connection is unmistakable. The pharaohs, the Mayans, and nearly all the ancient cultures knew this connection of the pineal. Look at the lower right. You see the staff of Osiris carrying the pineal as well.
The physical body of the pharaoh was rendered timeless, perhaps turned into an open gate, or perhaps a type of anchor. It was heavily supplied with all manner of spells, amulets, talismans, and other forms of magical protection. The strange practice of mummification still holds many mysteries. Why were some organs carefully preserved while the brain was scooped out and discarded? An unexpected insight into this question can be found in the work of Dr. Rick Strassman. His pioneering work has raised some very important questions about the pineal gland and its interaction with a strange hallucinogenic chemical known as DMT.
Interestingly enough, Rick Strassman found this connection to Buddhism through DMT, and that being one of 49 days. You see, in Buddhism, 49 days after death is called bardo, and the soul hangs around for 49 days waiting for a new body. And in Rick Strassman's study, the 49-day connection was found with the fetus, and 49 days after conception, the presence of the pineal gland and DMT is found. This just further proves that the mystics, monks, and gurus knew what they were talking about when they thought about the third eye as the seat of the soul. Which really makes you think, those people we consider mental patients are crazy. Are they actually crazy, or are they seeing into higher realms of reality that we are not able to see under normal states of consciousness by unlocking this chemical DMT? Rick Strassman found in these studies that people were reaching the same results, seeing the same things, and going to the same altered states of consciousness, all from different walks of life. Don't you think, if you haven't already, it's time to start trying to unlock your third eye so we can finally start to turn this ship around?
We'll now take a quick look at pineal gland symbology and the pine cone. Why the truth and information about this knowledge has been a well-guarded secret of the priest class for a great many years. The symbol of the all-seeing eye has always been a part of Earth's creation mythologies and mysteries. In ancient Egypt and in the modern-day dollar bill, it is symbolized by the eye of Horus, or the all-seeing eye. The symbol was passed down through the ancient mystery teachings of Babylon and be found on the American dollar bill. Why the symbol of the eye? The eye is the observer of reality, or the illusion of reality. In the physical body, your eyes look outward. Though it views objects upside down, it next sends the message of what it observes to the brain, which interprets the image and makes it appear right side up to us. But the human body has another physical eye, whose function has long been recognized by humanity. It is called the third eye, which in reality is the pineal gland. It is the spiritual third eye. our inner vision, and it is considered the seat of the soul. It is located in the geometric center of the cranium. The pineal gland is about the size of a grain of rice and is in the center of the brain. It is located in the geometric center in the brain as well. It is located directly behind the eyes, attached to the third ventricle. The true function of this mysterious gland has long been contemplated by philosophers and spiritual adepts. Ancient Greeks believed the pineal gland to be our connection into the realms of thought. The Descartes called it the seat of the soul. This gland is activated by light, and it controls the various biorhythms of the body. It works in harmony with the hypothalamus gland, which directs the body's thirst, hunger, sexual desire, and the biological clock that determines our aging process. When the pineal gland awakens, one feels a pressure at the base of the brain. This pressure will often be experienced when connecting to higher frequency. A head injury can also activate the third eye pineal gland. While the physiological function of the pineal gland has been unknown until recent times, mystical traditions and esoteric schools have long known this area in the middle of the brain to be the connecting link between the physical and spiritual worlds. Considered the most powerful and highest source of ethereal energy available to humans, the pineal gland has always been important in initiating supernatural powers. Development of psychic talents has been closely associated with this organ of higher vision. The pineal gland contains a complete map of the visual field of the eyes, and it plays significant roles in human functioning. With the pineal gland being a pine cone-shaped gland, we will now take a look at some of the symbology of pine cones throughout the world, symbolizing the third eye and the attainment and the restriction also of knowledge. The most fascinating of all pine cone pineal gland iconography is found in Rome at the Vatican. This is the largest representation of a pine cone found anywhere in the world and is adorned by two peacocks, which symbolize immortality and resurrection. Notice that the pine cone is green and undeveloped. This is symbolic of how the priest class wishes for our third eyes to remain immature, unopened, and unable to see the true light and nature of reality. This symbol is an in-your-face reminder of the restriction of knowledge and the power of keeping mankind in a state of arrested development through the withholding of pineal gland information, thus keeping us from knowing the true nature of reality through providing us with false religions. DMT, or dimethyltryptamine, is a substance produced by the pineal gland that is believed to facilitate the traveling of the human soul in and out of the body. The human body is flooded with this substance at birth and at death, and also the 13th week of gestation of a newborn child, coinciding with the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and what it refers to as the exact time when a soul can incarnate in a new body on earth. DMT has been associated with near-death experiences and shamanistic travels into the spirit world by its ability to take a person's soul into non-material realms of reality. Strange enough, DMT also has a cone shape when magnified underneath a microscope. Clinical studies of DMT have shown patients to contact alien and reptilian-like creatures who claim to be waiting for them during these experiences. Shamans have used ayahuasca, which contains DMT, to communicate with their quote-unquote gods for centuries. While science doesn't officially claim to know what DMT is actually for, research into dimethyltryptamine will show that this substance produced by the third eye allows a glimpse into realms beyond our 3D world. Buddhist monks spend lifetimes to know this power, and there is more to know on DMT than we have time to cover here. So please look into dimethyltryptamine, DMT, for yourself. Another interesting connection to the pineal gland is Sirius, often referred to as the portal to Sirius. It appears that this knowledge of the pineal gland and DMT was known by the priest class of the Egyptians as well as by the priest class of today. You will find reference to both the pine cone and Sirius to be important elements of the Freemasonic system. The star Sirius is commonly known as the dog star, and the dog is associated with the 13th Kabbalistic pathway of Gimel and is the guardian of the threshold. The dog is also that of the ancient Egyptians and their god Anubis. Anubis is the lord of mummification, and is also associated with the death trance, which seems interestingly related to dimethyltryptamine or DMT. The dog is also used by the Greeks as the three-headed dog of the underworld known as Cerberus, and that of Dr. John Dee's chronozon of the Enochian magical system, who is the intelligence of the veil of the abyss. The dog also represents the mammalian brain of the cerebellum, which resides atop the reptilian brainstem and is the headquarters for the autonomic nervous system. Between the hemispheres of the cerebellum, one will find the vestigial eye of the pineal gland. There is much more to know about the pineal gland, dimethyltryptamine, and Sirius than we have time to cover in this short video. But I hope you will use this as a springboard for your own research and as a tool to enlighten others on the true nature of our reality of illusion.